Welcome back, everyone, to another chapter review for HOS-245, Hospitality Marketing. Today we're going to look at Chapter 9, which is part of Part 3, which is developing the hospitality and tourism marketing mix. And specifically, Chapter 9 is about designing and managing our products and the brand that we've created. Okay, really, in terms of doing that is building customer value. Okay, so the objectives are written here that we're going to look at today. Define the term product and explain why it's important. How it's explain why the strategy of company strategy it should be about building and managing their brand consistently. Really, explain the new product development process and the life cycle and how it can be applied to the hospitality tourism industry. So, just looking at the first bullet point there. In review, again, define the product, and we can see this in our book, but a product is anything that can be offered to a market for attention, acquisition, use, or consumption that might satisfy a want or a need. Okay, so we talked about demand a little bit back in the previous chapters, and guess what? We're right back to it in terms of our products and our services. So when it comes to our product, again, sometimes we think of products or services, but really it can be the same thing. It's whatever we are offering. Okay, so a product could be that physical object. So in the hospitality industry, it could be food. Okay, it could be the hotel room. Okay, it could be a tour, an event, right? Or it could be service, which again could be the service of providing those things. So it could be your travel agent, right? Places, we think about event venues, right? Organizations, and then ideas too. So that can be our product. And again, it's anything that can be offered out to our market for attention, acquisition, use, or consumption. And there are a few levels there. We have our core product, and that's the most basic level of the product, right? What's actually changing hands there, what actually is going to be bought. Okay, and then facilitating products are those services or goods that must be present for the guest to be able to use the core product. We have supporting products, and that's those extras, and then augmented products are the accessibility and the interaction that are required in order to, again, use the core product, or even be able to possibly work within the facilitating or supporting products. A good way to kind of think about this, and I wrote it down in the sense of a hotel, but at its core, right, the product a hotel is going to give you is a room. Okay, so we think about, we give you the room, that's the core product that we have there. Think about facilitating products. What services or goods must be present in us for you to use that core product, right? So we think about things like the bed, right? We also think about ways that we're going to get there. So parking could be a situation of a facilitating product. Housekeeping as well. It's how it looks. It's the overall ability to sell a good clean room. Supporting products. When we think about it in the hotel industry, we have dry cleaning services that are provided, shuttle services that are provided, other types of linen service that are provided, right? To an extent, housekeeping could fall down into supporting as well. And when we think about augmented products, we think about the front desk check-in process, our concierge, the valet, the bellman, right? That help us to and from our rooms with bags. All of that is going to be an augmented product. So you can think about that in terms of anything within the hospitality industry. The restaurant, obviously, you could think about core product for a restaurant and what are the facilitating, supporting, and augmented products that we need there. We also need to be able to, kind of explain how those things are, why those things are critical to keep in mind when we're determining what our product is and marketing it out. Because so many of us fall into the, when I was looking at some of your marketing projects and the first part, and some even into the second part, we're not that different from other businesses, right? There's always going to be a competitor out there. that's competing over some portion. So a lot of times that facilitating and supporting product is really what can distinguish us from other competition and in our area, and then even nationwide if we have a big enough product or brand. So being able to understand that those things, again, anyone can offer a hotel, anyone can offer a hamburger, right? But facilitating and supporting products are what really change that up. Then we also talk about understanding brand conditions that support your branding. There are a few little points there. There are 5 conditions that the book highlights. The product is easy to identify. The product is perceived as the best value for the price. Their quality and standards are easy to maintain. There's a demand for the general product is large enough to support you, whether that's on the regional, national, or international level, right? And then there are economies of scale to compare. So we're going to do a little activity right here to help you kind of understand what we mean by the conditions and all that support branding. About branding, this is just a fun little exercise that I wanted to show you. What we see here is the overall brand and how easily it is to identify just based on the symbol, right? So when we understand branding conditions and the need to support our branding and how important it is to our customer base, we think about things like this. So I show you this image and you say, that is what? Air Jordan, right? Let's look at hospitality and tourism. Well, okay, think about these. What are these two? The one on the left, if you said Delta, you're right. The one on the right, American Airlines. Now, some of these have been through brand refreshes over the years, so you may be more familiar with some of the other. But I tried to pick one that was the most common and didn't have the name of the brand in there, so it would make it a little bit harder for you. Next one, right, Amazon. Delivers to our house every day. We are addicted to Amazon. Next, hospitality and tourism, right? Chili's. Yes, you got it right. And last but certainly not least here, locally, regionally, and even nationally now, is expanded so far out because of their products and services that they provide, Chick-fil-A, right? When you think about those things, again, think about how powerful those companies are, so that you just see the brand image, the logo, right, and understand, have perceptions of their quality, affordability, and their overall value to you, right? So there are obviously other sides to it too, and why the decisions that we make for building and managing our brands are so important, because some things last long after long after those products and services are no longer needed, or, and for this case, kind of out of business. They outlive the product itself. And one of the ones that came to mind immediately to me was Blockbuster, right? So obviously the technology in the digital age of movies and watching and how we view and have movies on demand has really changed. But in my time growing up, Blockbuster was an every week trip that you made. It was an errand that you had to run every week. I mean, at its peak, Blockbuster employed about 85,000 employees. So think about that. And now it ceases to exist. I think there may still be one in Alaska or something like that. There was a Netflix show. Shocking, right? A Netflix show about a Blockbuster video, right? But there was a Netflix show about one that was still holding on in the United States. I believe it was in Alaska. You can feel free to look that up. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But our branding strategy, there's, again, needs to be able to hold up and kind of stand the test of time, and make sure that we're putting everything into it that we can. It lists the components of a good branding strategy in the textbook too. So think about that. And then we talk about the product life cycle to kind of finish up this chapter with points of emphasis here and our objectives. we understand, or we need to understand, how the product life cycle can be used in the hospitality industry, and that starts with five different stages. Again, we go back to the numbered bullet points of marketing, right? Product development, introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. So we think about it with hotels, and a lot of times hotels, based on the brand itself, goes through a refresh every 7 to 10 years. Some extend it out based on their size to 12 to 15. But to think about it, I mean, that's where we go. When we start over, it starts with phase one. So we're developing the new product, introducing it to the market, letting it grow, letting it mature over time and develop that loyalty of a customer. And then once it starts to get into decline, we see that it's in that time frame, and we go ahead and offer up a brand refresh that was already being created to take its place. Some of the things that I think stand out to me on that when I think about hotels are the concepts of a hotel, right? The floor plan and the refresh there, but then also technology. Think about fast food restaurants and the difference, and you can Google this and watch YouTube videos on it, but you can go through and see the difference in how, let's say, Taco Bell was 25 years ago versus how it is now. McDonald's 25 years ago versus how it is now. Basically, outside of Chick-fil-A in our area, and just a few Chick-fil-A's remaining, have playgrounds, right? Think about it 25 years ago. Every single fast food restaurant had some semblance of a playground. Burger King, McDonald's, again, Chick-fil-A, right? All of those had these different types of playgrounds. I remember McDonald's having a ball pit, right? A ball pit with slides and everything like that. Imagine having a ball pit today, the era that we're in with diseases like COVID and everyone just having an overall better idea of cleanliness. A ball pit, right? It kind of gives you the heebie-jeebies just thinking about it. Heebie-jeebies is not a marketing term, or it could be. It's up to you. All right, so just to finalize this, think about some of these questions and kind of discuss it amongst yourself, obviously. But we think about branding strategy. Again, we talked about the logos. It's not just about logos. It can be something of a place. So think about Las Vegas. Can you believe there was a time when Las Vegas considered itself a family-friendly place to visit and actually marketed its products and services that way, as a family-friendly business? They've since changed that, obviously, to be more of that destination for adults and couples looking for that Vegas experience, right? The whole what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I mean, there was a movie with that title, right? So which one do you think worked better, right? Sometimes, we don't get it right the first time, but it's important to make that change. But again, think about it. At one point in time, Vegas considered themselves a family-friendly place to visit, right? Also looking at this chapter to kind of finish it up again, think about yourself when it comes to your brand and creating new products and product ideas, right? It's not always, I think the statistic that's out there is that I think it's a low percent, like 30% or less, and I don't have the exact quote in front of me. I've seen it before, but only about 30% of our new products and ideas actually come from customers itself. A lot of the stuff comes from within. So when we think about that and our need to, develop a new product, it's not, it's not always just going outside the box, or outside of your, four walls to get ideas. You can reward your employees to come up with new ideas and products and services. Obviously, you want them to bring information to you if customers are suggesting things, right? You don't want it to seem like, oh, that's stupid, we don't want to do it, not taking it serious. You want to do that. But then also you can design a better feedback system for customers to be able to leave you that information as well. That's all we have for Chapter 9. Good luck reading through the chapter, looking at the PowerPoints, and then using this to kind of bring everything together there at the end.